Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we are talking about Unearth, which is not just a metalcore band from the early 2000s, it's also a horror movie that came out last year. It is one of many ecological horror movies centered around fungus that drive people nuts that we've watched in the last few months.
Yeah, and they all got titles like Earth, Unearth,
In the Earth.
In the Earth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Every single one of them. But this one's a little bit of a different beast than some of the other ones we've watched. This one is not like as psychedelic or as artsy as some of the other ones we've watched. This one, for lack of a better way of putting it, is a little bit more down to earth.
Yeah. It's about... It calls itself a fracking horror movie.
Which I love that
Which I
kind
of loved it. Yeah. But the funny thing is while that's accurate, the thing that it is really about, it's literally about toxicity.
Well, it's about two things. Toxicity is definitely at the forefront, big time, because we have these two families of people, and there's a lot of toxicity therein, and how their toxicity leads them down like some terrible choices that eventually leads to where we're at.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like low key about the economical like conditions that lead to fracking in certain areas. Not that fracking is a necessity, but more like what leads people to give up their land in order to allow fracking, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because basically this movie is about two families in, I think, Pennsylvania, I'm pretty sure. Feel free to correct me below if it's not Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it specifically mentions it's in Pennsylvania.
Two families that own farms, they're neighbors, they're in rural Pennsylvania. The economy has gone to shit. They are not selling any of their crops. They're not making as many crops as they used to. And along come some oil tycoons who are offering to pay for their land in order to frack on it. And that is kind of where things go bad.
Yep.
But the thing is, this movie is not as black and white as you would expect a story like that to be, because first and foremost, these two families are just full of assholes. To the point where you almost feel like they deserve the economic turmoil they're in because they're so awful to each other.
Yeah, they're awful to each other and they continuously make bad decisions.
Yeah, this is like the feel-bad movie of the goddamn year.
Yeah. If this movie is surprisingly unsympathetic, like to these people.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like you compare it to a movie like Silent Night, right?
Yeah.
Which is also about shitty people, and the consequences of that shittiness. But that movie had way more sympathy.
Oh yeah.
For those people than this movie shows at all.
Yeah. This movie is basically telling you why the evil fungus is killing everybody.
Yeah. I'll be honest. There's a point where you just start rooting for the fungus. I'm just saying.
Yeah. The fungus is technically the hero of the story.
Yeah.
By the end of it, you're just sort of like, man, I'm kind of glad all these assholes are dead.
It's like the ecological fungus version. Okay, I was gonna say The Road, but I realized people are gonna go like, that's The Last of Us, but not like The Last of Us.
Yeah.
I just mean The Road in the sense that The Road where no one's a good person, everyone's kind of shitty, and that shittiness perpetuates a cycle of shittiness.
Yeah,
and it's never ending until the fungus rises up and reclaims the land, so to speak.
Yeah, here's the funny thing. One of the things that's really, really, really pointed about the movie is that the innocent suffer.
Yeah.
That's the main reason you really, really hate these families is they're causing the younger generations to suffer for no reason.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like you have characters that should have left the farm a long time ago, but are kind of stuck there, and the family has done things that have made them stay there longer than they should, which has just led to their lives being dragged down by the rest of the family. It's not like they're there and propping the family up. No, they're just being dragged down by the rest of the family.
Yeah.
You also have just straight up children whose lives are just fucked by all this,
Yeah.
Like just straight up children whose lives is fucked by all this. And like Oh,
yeah,
God.
there's no such thing as an unemotionally abused child in this story.
And the heads of both families are just, like, the movie does try to, like, show you a little bit of their perspective, but even knowing their perspective, they still come across as pieces of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have the matriarch of one of the families.
Yeah,
which
played
is,
by Adrienne Barbeau.
Yeah, which is the larger family of the two. And she's just such a controlling bitch to everyone around her.
Yeah.
And you get the sense that part of it is like compensating for the fact that like the grandpa, the patriarch of the family, recently died, so she's kind of stepping in to fill that role. But like that doesn't excuse the way she treats her granddaughter or
or her daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
You know,
we'll get more into the spoilers because some of the shit that she does that's truly despicable are just straight up spoilers.
Yeah.
So we'll get more into the spoilers, but trust me, it's more than just her being an overbearing parent. It's way more than that. It's pretty fucked up. And then you have the dad who is the head of the other family, and it's a smaller family. It's basically the dad and his two daughters and one of the
sister. Yeah.
When one of the no sister. That's one of his other daughters.
Oh, okay. I missed that. Okay.
It's the dad and his two daughters, and one of the daughters has a kid of their own.
Right.
And they're underage. So obviously things have gone wrong there. Now, I don't think the movie implied that the dad is the father of the other kid, if you're worried about that. It didn't imply anything like that. But it definitely gave the impression that the reason why this kid is in the position they're in the first place is because they don't exactly have great, examples at home.
Yeah, well, also the guy is like kind of an idiot.
Oh yeah, he's also like a bit of a con artist.
Yeah,
like
a bad one.
Like we get that they're like in economic turmoil, but when you see him trying to like con people at his repair shop, like trying to trick people into coming in and trying to overcharge people, if you've ever dealt with having to get your car done and you've had to deal with someone trying to overcharge you for a simple thing like I just wanted you to turn the tires, man. And
yeah.
If you've ever dealt with someone like that, you're gonna have like zero empathy for him when you're watching him do that because you're just like, oh, you piece of shit. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
She just came in to get her like fucking like liquid changed, and you're fucking like you've replaced her tires. You did that.
Yeah, you're upcharging her and upselling her, and for no good reason.
And we know you're doing it because when they show you on your own, like we see you actually doing that. Like we see you actually like upping those numbers, and even the daughter calls him out on it at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those, like, he's like, oh my god, it's that new chain shop that opened up, when what it really is he's a piece of shit.
And even more than that,
no one trusts him.
And even more than that, he's one of those dudes that's obviously having a midlife crisis and sleeping with someone who's like 20 years younger than him, which in and of itself is not a problem, except for the fact that it's his daughter's best friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, age gaps can be very icky in certain circumstances, but like that's a weird circumstance where it's like it's your daughter's best friend. Like that just makes it extra icky because when you're a parent and you have kids, your kids' best friends kind of become like your
children,
your kids in a way because you're all constantly taking them places and
exactly,
and they're constantly staying at your house and all that shit, sleepovers and all that stuff. So the idea of you dating like your college-age daughter's like now college-age best friend, just there's something icky about that,
Yeah, it's super weird because like that there's supposed to be a bit of like, it's not just the age gap, it's the fact that you fucking known them since they were a kid and you've been an adult the whole time.
Yeah, and you've basically been a parental figure to them the whole time too.
That seems really fucked up. And yeah, it's fucked up in here too.
Oh yeah, it's super fucked up. So like he's a piece of shit, and you got the overbearing a mom and her desire to control everyone, and then you have the fact that everyone underneath them is affected by this, and this is affecting their behaviors. They're all acting shitty and doing shitty things to one another, basically because the examples that were given to them from up on high, right?
Yeah.
Or left with zero choice from the examples up on high. Like, what else are they supposed to do?
Yeah, like the Adrienne Barbeau's son. He is a terrible farmer.
Yeah,
he's really bad, but at the same time, he wants to sell the farm and leave.
Yeah.
Because he knows he sucks at this.
Oh, yeah.
But she won't allow it.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's the conflict. And that's causing even more friction for their farm, because the fact that he wants to sell it is causing him to do things to lead it towards being sold, which is just making the farm fail more.
Yeah.
So it's like this, you see the motivations, but it's like you've just set everything up to fail for everyone, because there's because you guys can't agree on this, it's now just all falling apart, which of course, is where you bring in like the frackers, you bring in the people coming in to try to like, lure them out of their money. Which, of course, the frackers come in and, stir up some ancient fungus it's not a virus, but it goes viral, for lack of a better way to put it.
Yeah, it's spores, and the spores, infect people.
Which, to be fair, after going through this pandemic we're now in year 3 of, I totally am feeling all these movies about these, like, weird, like infections and things like that cause people to go mad and to kill each other and stuff, because... that's what it's felt like these last 3 years.
Yeah, it really has. It really has. But so... you want the fungus to win. Yeah, there is a certain point where you start rooting for the fungus, especially when it becomes clear that no one's really going to make it out of this. Now, we'll get more into the spoilers, but it becomes clear that this is not like a survivable situation. No.
Like I said, this is a feel-bad movie of the year. But like, there's a lot of things about the movie that work, but there's a couple things that I don't think work as much. The things that work is it definitely puts you in a mood that I think was intentional.
Yeah.
It definitely puts you in a very intentional mood. And it makes its point exceptionally well. That being said, I do feel like, especially towards the end of the movie, it was edited in an intentionally confusing way that I don't think worked. Because the idea is, as the movie goes on, the editing starts to break down. At the very beginning, it's very slow and methodical, but as the movie goes on and people start to get more infected with the spores and stuff, the editing gets more frenetic and more like, we're now cutting to this thing, and it's separate from this thing, and you're now jumping from things to things. And unfortunately, by the time you get to the third act, it just starts to get confusing. Like, you have trouble seeing what you're looking at because you're also doing more shaky cam towards the end. Yeah,
it reminded me a lot of the problems with with Batman Begins, actually.
Yeah, Batman Begins and the Bourne movies I was thinking of. Like it's a lot of fast cutting and a lot of shaky cam combined.
Yeah, and you're just sitting there going like, okay, that's cool, but what actually just happened?
Wait, what just happened? And you have to wait till the scene ends and you go like, oh, okay, that one just shot that person in the face. Got it. But like while it's happening, you're just like, wait, what's going on? And that's happening a lot throughout this movie. And I get the idea is that they're supposed to make you feel as disoriented as the characters do while under the effects of the mushrooms. But I just got annoyed at that. Yeah. Like, it didn't actually make me feel disoriented in a good way. It made me feel disoriented.
It just made you wonder what was going on.
Like, you compare it to some of the other fungal movies we've seen that were a little bit more psychedelic with it, so that you...
like Honeydew and...
Yeah, so that you're feeling that psychedelic, like, feeling the way the characters are. I think those movies are way more effective. Like, Honeydew and In the Earth, much better at that than this is. This movie probably could have benefited from going more psychedelic with it towards the end instead of going like Bourne with it.
Yes, I agree.
Personally,
like if they had like oversaturated the colors and like done trails and things, you would have known what was going on, because it's definitely a movie where you, the observer, are looking in on these people. Yeah, like you're observing them from a safe distance, so you kind of want to know what is literally happening.
Exactly. And also you have some really cool like fungal body horror effects towards the end of the movie of like the ways people's bodies have been contorted by the funguses. Yeah, and it looks really fucking cool when you can see it, when you can actually when the movie actually allows you to stop for a second and see it. It looks really fucking cool and really fucking gnarly, and like, God, you like kind of like Honeydew, you kind of want to throw up when you see some of it. Yeah. But you don't get to see it as much as you should towards the end, and that's a little disappointing, Yeah,
and I don't think that and it's possible that that's why they edited it that way, because it might have died if you
stared at it too long. Maybe
it would die, but like that doesn't seem very likely considering how good it looked when just on first glance.
True. Yeah.
You know, it's sort of like, no, the fungus is actually really cool. It's got like it creates these branches out of people, and like part of their heads will split open and shit.
All
and they got
up.
these glowing nodules on the end.
Absolutely. And it's very fucking like, it's spine tingling watching the characters slowly lose their minds. Like, it does a good job of making you feel that.
Yeah.
It's just really frustrating that you reach a point where you're like, wait, I actually need to know what just happened there. Can you? Okay, now I know what happened there. I really wish I knew when it was happening.
Yeah. Especially when you get like right near the end where the one character is running through the field.
Oh God, yeah.
You know, when you get to that scene, you'll know what we're talking about. But you're gonna go like, wait, what just happened?
Absolutely.
You know, and then the next thing happens. You're like, okay, I think I need to go back, and I think I missed something. You know,
and also because of this kind of editing, especially when you get towards the end, there are certain plot points where you're not exactly sure what just happened, and it's kind of important to understand what just happened for the next thing to make sense.
Yeah, but man, yeah. When we get to the spoilers, there's a big scene like that. Where you're just sort of like, wait, what was that? You know?
Yeah, and there's like multiple possible interpretations of certain scenes, which I think might have been intentional, but I kind of wish they were a little bit more concrete with them, because it emotionally informs things that happen as the movie goes on.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have at least like done the thing where we have one version of what happened and another version of what might be going on, and then you'd be like, okay, one of these things is actually going on, the other is the perception. Okay, but which one?
Which one's real?
You know.
But anyway, that's my big criticism of the movie, is that like I think it really makes its point, but it's editing. It needed another pass on the editing, like a slow down pass. Like let's take some of these edits out and slow it down a little bit. Like, you know, towards the end.
I would agree.
Not slow down the pace, just slow down the edits.
Yeah, the pace is fine because like especially the build up in the first like 2/3 of the movie, it's like no, you actually need this.
Oh yeah, because it's a slow build up, and when it starts to explode, it explodes. You know, and it goes crazy. But it's a really slow build up to that point. So be warned about that. Like, it takes a while to get going, and it's a lot of slow, quiet character studies up until that point.
Yeah, it's like watching a bridge collapse. Like, you're watching it weaken and weaken and weaken, and then just in a split second,
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like that. Yeah, absolutely. But if you want a really angry movie about fracking, a really angry movie about like rural communities, if you want a really angry movie about being in a toxic family, then this movie, you know,
this movie is not fond of rural America. I'll tell you that.
No. And with that said, my fellow gorehounds, we're going to move on to the spoilers soon. I don't recall dead animals in this movie, but there's definitely dead babies.
Yes.
So be warned about that if that's a thing. That
there are dead children in this.
Yes. So be warned about that. It is currently available on various video on demand services. Pick your poison and enjoy. I dug the movie, but be warned that it gets a little messy at the end. Both gory and also just editing wise.
Overall, it's like, thumb mostly up.
Exactly. It's kind of where I'm at. I don't think it was one of the better ecological ones we saw, but it's definitely the one that made the most of a economic point, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it's the most pointed.
Yeah. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
Okay, so speaking of that dead baby.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the things where the movie got really confusing, because I couldn't tell if the baby was shot or if it had died from an infection from the fungus.
Yeah, the idea was supposed to be was that it died from the infection from the fungus, but because we just had that scene with people shooting at each other, it was a little weird and confusing.
Yeah, because you're like, wait, did someone come in and shoot the baby because they were crazy, or did the baby die of the infection?
Yeah, I believe the idea is the baby died of the infection, but I think it's because she was trying to feed him the formula and kind of force the formula into him.
Yeah, because the problem is it's gotten into groundwater.
Yeah, the fungus gets into the water supply, and when the fracking happens, and everyone slowly starts to undergo its effects. First psychologically, and then eventually physically.
Yeah.
And there's a point in which at this point that it's in the water supply, and the little girl, and I say little girl because she's like a teenager, and she has a daughter already. She's
daughter, like 2-month-old.
She's
kid.
in high school still.
Yeah.
And she's trying to feed the kid the formula that she made with the tap water, and the baby doesn't want any of it because it's like the baby senses.
Yeah, it knows something's
It's like it knows. And then next thing you know, next time you see the baby, it's turned into like a fungal mess in the fucking.
Yeah. She picks it up, and it just like falls
disintegrates. It just disintegrates. Oh, it's nasty. It's fucking gnarly and brutal. And it was one of the scenes where like you could just see it all on screen. And that's what I mean when the effects are really great.
Yeah,
when you
man.
can see
No,
it.
it was a well shot sequence. It was really a shame that like you kind of have this question like in the very next scene, like, wait, did that thing die of the fungus or did it get shot? You know,
one of the to get to the other family, the one without the baby, the one that's the larger family, with Adrienne Barbeau. Remember when I said that Adrienne Barbeau, it's not just that she's an overbearing mother or that that she's controlling. It's revealed later on in the movie, towards the end of the movie, that one of the main characters of the movie, in fact, the character we open up on with the movie, who's basically our protagonist, if there is one, we find out that over the course of the movie that she's been sending, she's been trying to sign up submitting to colleges, various colleges, because she wants to get into art school for her photography. And she's been submitting to various colleges all across the world and all across the country. But hasn't really heard back from any of them. And then we find out later on in the movie that the mom, her grandma, has been holding all the submissions and not sending them out.
Yeah, she's been going to the mailbox,
taking them out
because this is one of the in a rural area, you can leave your mail in the mailbox and the mailman will take it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's how you don't go to the post office. You don't put it in a mailbox. You put it in your mailbox. Mailman picks it up.
It was like that where I grew up too.
Yeah. So Adrienne Barbeau has been, whenever she's been submitting, she goes to the mailbox, takes that thing out, hides it.
Yep.
So that the mailman never sends it anymore.
Yeah. So the schools never get to see the submission, and she's basically stuck because there's never any things, and that also goes for like potential scholarships that she could apply for too.
Yeah.
So any chance of her getting out?
To say nothing of the fact that she's constantly undermining.
Oh yeah.
Like her competence in her ability to do it at all.
She is negging the shit out of her granddaughter the entire goddamn movie.
Yeah.
And on top of that, constantly trying to plant this seed, which plant this fungal spore in her brain.
Yeah.
That she should be running the farm, and not everyone else. That she should stay and run the farm like she does. And at first you just think that this is just shitty overbearing parent who's demanding that you live the life that she lives. You don't realize that she's actually forcing it upon her.
Yeah.
Until you see all those submissions that she hid.
And then you're like, whoa.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like, oh my God, Adrienne Barbeau is playing such a great bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is Adrienne Barbeau in bitch mode. It's great.
She's great. Another big spoiler in this movie, not the girl with the baby, but her sister comes home from college to visit the family. And she basically is the one whose best friend is fucking her dad.
Yeah.
So her dad is fucking her best friend. And to make this even worse and more complicated, it turns out her friends at college know, but no one in this town that she grew up in, including her dad or her sister, know that she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
And she's been low-key in love with her best friend for years. So on top of the fact that her dad has been sneaking around fucking her best friend is her high school crush.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is where some of the editing gets a little confusing for me, because there's a point where she and the best friend go and visit. When they were kids, they used to hang out at this tree house. And it was kind of the place they used to go to get away from their families and shit.
Yeah.
And there's a point where they're in the tree house and she makes the move on her best friend and kisses her best friend. And then it cuts away. Well, the best friend kind of brushes it off.
Yeah.
And then it cuts away. But then later we see her in the shower and it flashes back to that scene and they're making out.
Yeah, and you're trying to figure out, is she fantasizing or did that actually happen?
Yeah, is she fantasizing about what she wished happened, or is that what happened after it cut away? And the movie never really makes that clear. No, it leaves that really unspoken, and I kind of wish that was made a little bit more clear, because like it emotionally informs the way the two of them are interacting later, and how you read their interactions later depend upon whether or not that happens.
Yeah. You're like, the emotional weight of what is happening between them near the end of the movie, changes whether or not that scene literally happened.
Like at the end of the movie, when everyone's fucking dying and turning into fungus and killing each other because the fungus is fucking with their brain and they're grabbing their guns because it's rural America, so they all have fucking guns everywhere. Yeah.
And as the one girl says, it wants me to kill you.
Yeah, and so she tries to run away, but it's the girl tries to run away, but instead of running out of town, she goes and tracks down her best friend first. And it's hard to tell in that scene, like, okay, was she running to her unrequited love, or is she running to the girl that she wants to run away with because they just made out and now they're a thing?
Right.
You know, and you don't know because they don't tell you whether or not that was a hallucination or a real thing. Like, what was it? Yeah,
and that it would kind of change things.
Yeah, it would change.
Either one would work, but you want to know which one it is.
Exactly. That's where the editing kind of like frustrated me a little bit, because it's not the satisfying kind of open-endedness, it's the frustrating kind where you're like, no, this actually informs character decisions.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So I need to know.
And so this all leads up to her and her friend being alone in the this treehouse, where the lesbian friend she's infected, and she is just sitting there trying not to kill her best friend, saying, it wants me to kill you. It wants me to kill you.
Which are really fucked up. Okay, that scene's effective regardless of how you interpret the earlier scenes. Yeah. Because either way, you know that she loves her.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's the important bit. And that's the kind of the moment where you realize what it is the fungus is actually after. You realize, oh wait, it's actually intelligent.
Yeah.
It actually wants something. And what it wants is for all these people who are really bad for the local environment to die.
Yeah.
You know,
goodbye.
Just get rid of them. Don't care. You know, like fucking drop like a bad habit.
Yeah.
You know, fumigate it like a cockroach colony. Don't care. Just get rid of them. You know, and to the point where when they die, things actually apparently start to turn around.
Yeah.
However, there is this really strong possibility that everyone's actually still infected by the fungus, but it's gotten what it's wanted.
Because some of them are still itching.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Some of them are still showing like minor symptoms.
Yeah.
But like the fungus has what it wants.
Yeah.
So it's just like, all right, I'm just going to sit back now. Watch your ass.
Well, there's that, but it also kind of has like a cabin fever-like ending moment. In Cabin Fever, for people who don't remember how that movie ends, it ends with someone dying in the creek, and you watch as their blood drips into the creek, because in Cabin Fever it's a flesh-eating virus, and you watch as their blood in the creek runs down the river, and it goes down the river to a village where people are taking water out of the creek and drinking from it.
Yeah.
This kind of has a very similar ending, because basically the only person left at the end of this is the main character that we start off with, whose grandma stopped her from going to college, basically. And she's now taken over the farm after everyone's gone.
Ironically, as her mother-in-law wanted.
And we watch as the farmhands and her are still kind of like itching, like people did with their first signs of fungus. And we watch as a bunch of corn from the farm is loaded up and taken to the local town. Yeah,
it's totally got that, like, you know, end of Kevin Fever, Food of the Gods.
And Food of the Gods is another one that has that ending where that's the end credits, is it being traveling from along the road to the local town.
Yeah.
With the idea is that, like, well, I mean, it's okay for now, but it sounds like it's about to spread, is what it sounds like. You know?
Yeah, it's sort of like, oh, hey, I can spread and kill more people this way. Let's do it.
Gonna take the Earth back.
Yeah.
For the fungi mushroom kingdom.
Yeah, I'm really fucking fascinated by this current trend of the idea that the mushrooms are gonna fucking reclaim the Earth.
I think it's because of those old articles about the science behind the mushroom zombies that would infect ants.
Yeah.
At least I know that's where The Last of Us came from.
Yeah,
and I think some of these other ones are probably partially inspired by that too. Plus, there's something almost Lovecraftian about fungus.
Yes.
Because of the way it, like, infects things and the way it, like,
the way it works.
It's kind of Lovecraftian. It's also Cronenbergian in that it creates body horror. Like, if you have athlete's foot or something like that, like, it's...
Yeah, your foot starts peeling off and all that shit, you know?
You know?
Oh, man.
So it makes sense. And plus, if you're doing a story about, like, ecological horror where the Earth is fighting back, fungus makes a lot of sense, you know? Yeah. So does a virus too. Like you could do it with a virus or anything like that.
Yeah, or bacteria. Yeah. You know, things like that. But like, I think I thought it was very interesting that all of a sudden mushrooms were evil.
Yep.
Yeah.
The funniest part of this movie is that you basically don't get to know any of the fracking people at all. Like
they're just the fracking guys.
Yeah, you're mainly just about the rural farmers, and like very little empathy is actually spared for them, except for there's definitely empathy towards the two college-age women and the daughter with the baby.
And the daughter with the baby. Yeah. Like there's sympathy for them because they're the ones who are suffering the most.
Yeah, you get a lot of empathy for them, but not so much for any of the people in charge.
Yeah, other people are suffering, but it's their own goddamn fucking fault.
Oh yeah.
You know?
But at the same time, you also can't blame the guy who ends up selling his farm to the frackers because they're in such an economic turmoil. There was not many other options but that.
Yeah.
But you also, much like what happens with a lot of farms and people when they sell their land to these corporations, there's loopholes that screw them out of the money.
Yeah, you know? yeah. It's like, oh, well, we're going to charge you for the transportation.
The transportation?
Motherfucker, our land, bitch. You know, like that's like, no, you pay for transportation. You're the one transporting shit.
You're supposed to be taking the thing out of our land. That's the end of our deal. We don't...
Yeah, you pay me for valuable resources.
Yeah.
You handle everything else. That's the fucking deal.
You know, and that all comes down to not being able to afford a fucking lawyer before you sign that shit, right?
Yeah, or not knowing what to look out for, you know? You know, lawyer would definitely have fucking helped, you know? But jeez. Like, there's so many times where you're just sort of, like, looking at the decisions these people are making, and you're just like, oh my God.
The fucked up part is that they almost would have been better off with the thing that looked like a terrible option from the get-go, and that was, like, combining the farms.
Oh, yeah.
That looked like a terrible option because of how bad the one farm was doing and all that stuff, but, man, after what happens after that, you're like, maybe that would have been the better option.
Well, how to put it? Like, there's a lot of fucking... There's a lot of negotiating that you could have done.
True, yeah.
You know, like between those two things, you know, between the two families.
Which is so weird because he's like a con artist, right? So he's constantly trying to like con people out of money by adding shit to things in a weird like way that's almost like pseudo negotiating.
Yeah.
But he doesn't even bother to try to do that with the fucking people.
No, he doesn't.
No.
Like, because he's totally like, he just sees the large amount of
money. And it almost feels like a just desserts kind of thing.
Oh, it is.
Like you con people forever and now you've been given a long con, you know?
Yeah. Whereas you probably would have been way better off just selling it to the old bitch.
Yeah.
Or like leasing it to the old bitch because then that'd be a steady stream of income.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's one of those, like, it's a classic, like, do you want $1,200 now or $200 every month?
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm like, no, $200 every month, you know, for however fucking long, because it's probably going to be longer than 6 months.
True. True. I mean, they'll probably be farming that thing for years.
Yeah. A farm, you're gonna be on that thing for at least an entire cycle.
True.
An entire seasonal cycle, because that's how it fucking works.
True.
You know, you're gonna lease that thing out in the fucking spring so that you can start planning, and then by fall you're harvesting, and then all that shit.
Absolutely.
But and the funny thing is, I was getting so mad at the characters until I realized that that was kind of the movie's point.
Oh yeah, it was kind
of they're not making these they're making these very stupid, short-sighted decisions.
Yeah, this is not a movie about perfect people that are screwed over. This is a movie about extremely flawed people that are screwed over.
Yeah,
Yeah,
these are and it is kind of upsetting, because you're just sort of like, dude, you want to think of yourself as an operator, but you're a sucker.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
then he becomes the ultimate sucker.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Damn.
Damn. Do I have anything else to say about the movie? Nope.
Well,
where can they find you, Count
You can
Jackula?
find me at twitch.tv/count_Jackula, where I stream at least twice a week on Thursdays and Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I also stream randomly during the week. If you'd like to be informed every time I fucking go online on Twitch, you can follow me on Twitter at CountTingJack. And if you just want to see me, post random photos, you can follow me on Instagram at Satanic Jackula. I look forward to seeing y'all there. What about you?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to go to our Patreon page. And if you decide to subscribe to our Patreon page, remember that even $1 a month can go a long way. And if you made it this far into the vlog, then I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag #MushroomPlantation. Use the hashtag #MushroomPlantation, that way I know, that way Jack knows, that way the whole world knows you watch this vlog all the way through. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, this is actually the only vlog we're doing this week, because I have an unboxing that I'm going to be putting together and putting up later this week. So look forward to that.
Yeah, also for some reason, we're watching old cat horror movies.
Yeah, we did a marathon of various horror movies involving cats. So Strays and
the Uninvited.
Yeah.
The Uncanny.
Yep.
And I think the only one we didn't see was the Corpse Grinders.
That's true. We didn't watch that one.
Yeah.
There was another one that we looked up that we haven't watched yet that we're going to check out. We just got into a weird cat fucking movie kick. And Jack's been watching Boba Fett, and I've been watching Star Trek Discovery that I've been binging the past few days. So we've just been watching a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I think we kind of unofficially gave ourselves a break.
Yeah.
I think, Well,
we've been going hard. We went hard last year with the vlogs, and so it's January. We need a little bit of a...
Yeah. Just a little bit of a breather. Don't worry. We'll be
not that it's going to be
on schedule.
Too different, because I'm going to be uploading a second video this week when I put the unboxing together anyway. So look forward to that. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and I'll catch y'all later.
Problem with cat horror movies.
Yeah.
How? Just how? I get it when the cat has magic powers. That's why the Uncanny works. Yeah. Cat's got magic powers, guy. But
it's a nuclear cat.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's the Uninvited.
You're thinking of Uninvited.
Yeah,
it's
you're
a
right.
nuclear radiation cat.
That's right. The Uncanny has various cats with magic powers. That's right.
Yeah, and you're okay, cat's got magic powers. It's still a little dumb, but because it turns out that as menacing as a cat is, it really cats mainly just sit there and look at things.
Oh my god. All those movies involve a scene in which someone is tossing cats on top of someone, and you're watching them land, look around, and then run off.
Yeah, they're whoa, what just happened?
And you can tell they're cats that are just confused at why did you just throw me?
Yeah.
They don't look like they're attacking anyone at all. It's adorable. It's adorable.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. They got Peter Cushing, too.
True.
Cats killed Peter Cushing, man.
One of the movies had Donald Pleasance. Wasn't that the Uncanny?
That was also the Uncanny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that was the anthology.
Yeah, that's right.
I was Cat's Eye, but without James Woods. So.
Strays had the chick from Babylon 5.
It did. It did.